Sounds like we're going to be finding out who Gervonta Tank Davis is going to be fighting next. Apparently, we're going to get to see, and find out who's going to be that next opponent in his return fight following that big win against Ryan Garcia, King Rye, doing 1.2 million pay-per-view buys. That's no slouch. Those are big numbers. Obviously, Gervonta Davis is probably the biggest star in the sport of boxing right now. He's probably the face of boxing. It could be Canelo. You could argue Terrence Crawford, all these guys. But I think in terms of, trending guys right now, I'd go with Gervonta Davis. He's still an emerging star, and at the same time, he's well established in the sport where some people don't know, high quality fighters that are in the sport of boxing, but they know Gervonta Davis, who is a high quality fighter, but they know Tank because he puts on shows and he gets those clean stoppage wins. Rarely does he have a close fight, and his criteria for a close fight is considered just a decision, just not knocking the guy out. That's considered a close fight for, people that watch Gervonta Davis. That's how good he is. That's how dominant he's been against his opponents. But we're trying to wait and see when he's actually going to get tested. And eventually he's going to, have to get into the ring with opponents like Devin Haney, Shakur Stevenson, Teofimo Lopez, maybe Vasily Lomachenko. And those are possible names that I think could really bring out the best in Tank and also give him the most challenges, obviously. But according to Calvin Ford, he was on the Rise podcast and he was asked about Tank's return, who the potential opponent is going to be, and Calvin Ford said that they're trying to lock it in, like they're trying to lock and finalize everything for the fight. So he's not saying too much. They're being quiet for a reason because it's supposed to be some big news. And who could it be? Is it going to be a guy like Teofimo Lopez? Is it going to be Vasily Lomachenko? I've heard rumors about Keith Thurman at a catchweight. I don't know how accurate that is, but man, those are all great fights for Tank. Those are all very challenging fights. I see a lot of people talking about, I'm fine with it as long as it's a no name and it's not Isaac Cruz. And I agree. I just don't want to see Isaac Cruz and Tank again. I just think that, Tank probably would put on a way more dominant performance and potentially stop Isaac Cruz. And then we're going to be like, yeah, okay, fight the next guy. So at this point, I don't think anyone's really itching for that Cruz rematch unless you're a strong Isaac Cruz fan or, you just feel strongly about him as a Mexican fighter. Otherwise, it wasn't that competitive of a fight. Let's also remember Tank couldn't use his left hand for the most part. Early on in the fight, not even half of the fight, more than half of the fight, Tank wasn't able to use his hand. So, that's something to take into account. So I just, as good as Isaac Cruz is, as entertaining as he is, I don't think he's on the level of Tank at all. And I think that fight was just, maybe his best night, and Tank had an injury. I'm not trying to make excuses. I'm not trying to discredit him, but at the same time, let's be real. We saw Tank not throw the left hand for close to 7 rounds. When have we ever seen that? So, I mean, all credit to Isaac Cruz to not getting knocked out, but I don't think he won the fight. It was pretty kind of close compared to other opponents of Tank, but let's be real, that fight doesn't really warrant a rematch, even though Tank didn't stop him the way he stopped other fighters. Maybe Isaac Cruz is one of those tougher guys, but Tank has beaten good fighters, but now people are starting to say, all right, it's time to start facing those big dogs, and I think Tank's ready for that. I think he wants those fights. I think it's time for, the people advising him around him, even Calvin Ford, to allow him to fight those big names, and hopefully, like Calvin Ford was saying, it's a big name, so that's what we were asking for. Hopefully they give it to us. They do all the preparation, because I'm excited to see Tank really get tested. I've been telling you guys on this channel for a minute now. I'm waiting for Tank to really get tested. And I'm not saying that it's not possible that he fights guys like Shakur, fights guys like Devin, Loma, Teofimo, and knocks them all out. I'm not saying that's out of the question, because honestly it's not. That could very well happen. I put Tank at number 1 or number 2 at lightweight, even at 140 pounds. I think he's probably number 1 or number 2. When in terms of stylistic matchups, I know that he only fought at 140 against Mario Barrios, but still, I just think that he could really carry that power to 47 if he really wanted to. So 140, it's going to be no issue for him to fight at that weight, carry the power, and then compete with the top contenders in the division and champions at 140. So I'm excited for Tank. I'm excited to hear that he's going to be back. They're trying to lock something in, so hopefully it's a big fight. It's a mega fight. And whether or not All right, let's get a list of names here, because I'm gonna go with potential opponents. I'm going with, and I'll go from most ideal to least ideal. Let's go with the top ranked guys potentially. Let's go with Vasily Lomachenko and Teofimo Lopez. Obviously, he announced his retirement, but I think that a Tank fight could get him back in the ring for sure. But other than that, it could be like the Keith Thurman catchweight. That's a big fight as well for Keith, because he's kind of been missing in action for a while. So that'd be a great get-back fight to fight a guy like Tank, a smaller guy, but still a very dangerous fight for him. One that I'd probably, maybe even favor Tank in that fight. If he lands to the body of Keith, I'm not sure how well he'd take it, but Keith is a big guy now, naturally getting up there in weight. So I don't know if it's going to be Keith Thurman. That'd be really interesting. If I find that out, that'd be crazy. But it could, who else could it be? It could be Frank Martin, because we heard that Frank Martin decided not to pursue the Shakur Stevenson fight because of the money, and because apparently he has something greater lined up. So maybe it's Tank. Maybe that's a mega fight as well, but not a mega fight, but it's a good test for Tank, I think. But other than that, I don't really see anyone else, because Shakur's got De Los Santos coming up. I think it's the day before the Formula One. So I don't know. I'd like to see Tank and Loma. I'd like to see Tank and Tio. If it's one of those two, that'd be crazy. Just don't give me Isak Cruz, please. I really don't care for that fight anymore. But let me know in the comments what you guys think. Who do you guys think the opponent is next for Tank that Calvin Ford, Tank's head trainer, is hinting at? I'll go with Tio or Loma, but that might be a little bit too ambitious and a little too ideal. But let me know in the comments what you guys think. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. Like, comment, and subscribe. Do all that good stuff. Peace.
That's going to do it for another NASFIGHT Media video, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's been your boy, Matt Nabong, with another video. Hope you guys enjoyed it all. Thank you guys for the constant support. Salute to y'all always. It's been your boy.